Elon and Trump are two very famous, very powerful, very wealthy people who don't like being told no. And it was just inevitable that their friendship would become strained and eventually break. All right, I had planned to open the show with the Trump-Elon feud because I still haven't had a chance to talk about it. It all kind of broke open on Thursday, I guess. But now it feels like all that happened 5 years ago. Things have de-escalated. Musk deleted some of his anti-Trump tweets. And Trump on Saturday was asked about this whole thing, and here's what he had to say about it. Watch it.
So what's your view on Elon Musk as of today? I mean, have you heard from him at all?
Honestly, I've been so busy working on China, working on Russia, working on Iran, working on so many. I'm not thinking about Elon.
On the China,
I just wish him well.
So Trump chose not to go nuclear against Elon, even as Elon was at one point claiming that Trump is incriminated in the Epstein files. And we'll get back to that in a moment. But I will say that I'm glad that Trump chose not to engage, or at least not to engage much by his standards, because the other big news story this weekend, the one that ended up supplanting this Trump-Elon stuff, the one we opened the show with, demonstrates why we cannot afford this kind of feuding and fighting on the right. We're dealing with an invasion. We're fighting people on the left who will resort to any means necessary to destroy and remake this country in their own image. And that's what matters. And we need to be aligned in this battle, which is the only battle that matters. We don't have to all be friends. We don't have to like each other, but we do have to put our petty squabbles and personal beefs and personal slights to the side. Now believe me, there are plenty of people on the right who I don't like. I mean, there are plenty of people on the right who I could, I think, reasonably claim have stabbed me in the back or wronged me in various ways. But I let almost all of that go. And I never fight those battles in public. I'll only argue with somebody on the right in public if they attack me first in public. And then I feel like I need to defend myself in the arena that they have chosen. Even then, a lot of the times I won't respond, but sometimes I will if I feel like I need to. But I will never choose that arena to fight somebody on the right. Now, 10 years ago, I used to see it differently. I used to fight with my own side all the time. But in recent years, I pulled back from that almost entirely because we just can't afford it. We just can't. And we especially can't afford to have the two most famous and powerful people on the right in a public feud. If your mattress has all the supportive quality of wet cardboard and you wake up each morning feeling like you need an on-call chiropractor, it's time to check out Helix Sleep. Improve your nights and start genuinely sleeping well so you can wake up each morning feeling like you actually got some rest and you're ready to take on whatever the day has in store. I never realized how badly I needed a new mattress until I finally got one. I've had my Helix mattress for years now, in fact, and I couldn't be happier. It does incredibly well with temperature regulation, which really eases some of those annoying middle of the night wake ups. Keeping cool and comfortable is essential as the temperatures continue to warm up and we head into the summer. Plus, it's easy to connect to other wearable devices so you can actually see the data to back up your sleep improvements each night. No more questioning. What makes Helix different is they don't just sell you a random mattress. They actually match you with the perfect one for your body and sleep style. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or somewhere in between, they've got you covered. All you got to do is take their sleep quiz, find your ideal match, and trust me, when you find the right match, you'll wonder how you ever slept on anything else. Right now is actually the perfect time to upgrade your sleep because Helix is offering a fantastic summer sale. Go to helixsleep.com/Walsh. You get 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/Walsh for 20% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know that we sent you. helixsleep.com/Walsh. And now, granted, it was inevitable that the marriage wouldn't last. I mean, for the same reason, it's like you can't put two alpha silverback gorillas in the same cage together. They're not going to get along for very long. And it's the same thing here. Elon and Trump are two very famous, very powerful, very wealthy people who, don't like being told no, are not used to being told no. And it was just inevitable that their friendship would become strained and eventually break. And that's fine. They don't have to be friends, but we can't have public fighting, which is why, again, I'm glad that Trump chose not to engage for the most part. He posted a few things, I guess, on Thursday on Truth Social, but he didn't go all in. He didn't launch the nukes, so to speak. And I'm grateful for that. And of course, as mentioned, the most vicious blow in the fight came from Elon when he said that Trump has not released the Epstein files because he's in them. And Elon has since deleted that tweet, I believe, although it doesn't really accomplish much when you delete a tweet that's already been viewed like 100 million times. But it seems like he's not going to pursue that accusation much further, which is good because it's certainly nonsense. I mean, is Trump in the Epstein files? Well, it depends on what you mean by in them. We already knew that Trump knew Epstein, had an association with him at some point in the distant past. That's not news. We've known that. But it doesn't mean that Trump did anything illegal or inappropriate. But the obvious implication of Elon's tweets is that Trump is incriminated in the files, that there's evidence of him doing something horrible. And that obviously is not true. Like even before the tweet was deleted and there seemed to be a bit of a backtrack, it was clear to me that it wasn't true because, and clear to a lot of people, because a lot of people made this same point, which is that in order for that to be true, it would mean that the Biden administration and the intelligence agencies had this damning evidence against Trump for years and chose not to release it. It would mean that they were trying for years to devise any possible way to stop Trump from being reelected. And yet they chose not to use the one thing that would have been sure to destroy Trump. The one thing that could have actually landed him in prison, they chose not to use. And that just makes no sense. I mean, it's total nonsense. Now, what I've heard in response to this point is that, well, maybe the Dems did have this incriminating stuff about Trump, but they couldn't release it because they are also in the files and they didn't want to burn themselves in the process. But that's also nonsense. I mean, I don't doubt that they're in the files, but it's like, okay, so you're saying they couldn't have and wouldn't have just released the stuff that involves Trump while redacting or destroying the other stuff? As if the intelligence agencies that spent a decade trying to destroy Trump couldn't figure out a way to release the stuff in the file that implicated Trump without also releasing all the other stuff. It's absurd. I mean, what even is the claim here? That Trump's enemies thought it would be, poor sportsmanship to release his part of the Epstein files without releasing all the rest of it? As if the file is like one indivisible organism that it's like if you put out part of it, you got to put out the whole thing. It doesn't make any sense. What would have happened if Trump was actually in the Epstein files in the sense of being incriminated in them is that the only surviving parts of the files would be the parts that have Trump in them. And the rest of it would never see the light of day. But there are no parts with Trump, and that's why we never saw it. And Trump is the most vetted, most scrutinized, most transparent politician in American history. But even if you don't like him, you have to admit that. We know everything we need to know about him and a lot of stuff we don't need to know. So there's just no way that this detail somehow never made it into the light. But it seems that Elon has stepped back from that claim anyway, and I hope that their differences stay private from here on out, because that's the only way forward, especially with everything we see going on right now in the news. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.